bringing you the latest news from Friendship Athletics. This is the Tiger Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. As I mentioned, we're going to stick with baseball because we have Friendship basketball coaches on buses somewhere. Of the two, I'm going to guess that Paul Page is not asleep, and Trent Hilliard might be dozing off. I don't know if Paul sleeps at all.
I don't think he does.
Which maybe his doctors had him on last week, and we talked a little bit about what he went through, and hopefully they're stopping to see Hannah Page on the way, so hopefully she gets him, make sure that he's
good
following rule.
There you go.
So he wasn't coaching when you were in high school. Your baseball coach at that time, or the basketball coach at that time, was Grady Wisdom.
Grady Newton.
Grady Wisdom, that's the kid I played with. Grady Newton. So there was some old timer, and I believe they had an assistant coach named Jerry Reynolds back then, didn't they?
He was the assistant.
Here we go. So, I was thinking on the way over here, you're as friendship as friendship gets.
I've been here a while.
Did you go like all through school at Friendship, or did you guys move in?
I started there in the 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. Dad got a job. He was coaching over at Monterey, and then he went out to Friendship. Bobby Davis had a spot open, and so that's when he talked me into moving, and I wasn't going to do it. I was going to play for Coach Magel, and
wow! And
I told him I'll go out there in middle school, but I'm going to go back and play for Coach Magel and at Monterey, and he just kind of whatever, and ended up playing for Steve Coleman at Friendship.
You did all right.
That was a pretty good coach.
You did all right. The reason I'm saying all that, I don't get the guys. I'm probably going to let you talk here in a minute because we're coming up on we're in the middle of a brand new era out there. Memorial opens, numbers change. We were just talking before. Friendship's going to be a 5A school starting next year, which you never been a 5A, right?
We hadn't.
Straight from 4A to 6A.
Yeah.
That's going to change things in a lot of ways. You two jump in here because you guys will be gone, right?
Yes, sir.
You can look back and wonder what it's like, but that's weird to think about that you guys, the guys that are younger teammates now, they're not going to be playing Midland Legacy and Midland High. They're going to be playing teams that they know more, I guess, have grown up with. So what's it like to be, you guys will be one of the last teams at Friendship in 6A. What's that going to be like when you're going through that this season?
Well, it's going to be fun for sure. I like the group of guys we have this year. I feel like we have a bunch of our offense back, like Coach Reynolds said, and I think it's going to be fun just playing in this district one last time, like leaving like our statement one last time. I think it'll be a good time.
You got to go through it in football a little bit.
Yes, sir.
You got to say your goodbyes there.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're one of the guys back that is going to get to throw the ball a little bit.
Yes,
maybe
sir.
a lot.
Yes, sir.
It sounds like. What your coach said, there's going to be a lot of new guys, a lot of new faces on the mound. You're kind of the old graybeard out there. What do you want? What do you feel like your role needs to be, pitching and also as a leader?
I just feel like you got to show them how to really just fill it up and make it quick.
Because you were an end of the game guy most of the time last year.
Yes, sir.
I think you got stretched out a couple of times.
Yes, sir.
Chad, is he the Lone Ranger coming back?
Well, we had a lot of depth on the mound last year.
Yes.
And so we were fortunate enough where we could just use him on the back end of a game, and he was a strike thrower that was going to compete, and we knew what we were going to get, and that's who you want in the back end of a game. Mm-hmm. And so his role will change this year because we need more innings out of him. But no, we've got some guys with that did get some experience. Brody Prather was a sophomore that threw early quite a bit for us. And then Nick Mendoza, who I think he threw in one game for us last year. And we really thought he would throw a lot more, but we plugged him in at shortstop, and he stayed there the rest of the year. I think he threw maybe in that first tournament, and that was it. So we're expecting him to throw a lot of innings for us as well. Those are, Mason Fritz. I'm going to start naming guys. I'm going to leave guys off, but Dana McCalco.
We'll get you back on. You can name the rest of them.
Right, we'll be back, but we'll have a few guys with some innings, and but we had some guys go out and have some really good summers and really develop, and so we're excited. We're ready to get going.
I'll put Colton on the spot here. Who's going to be the next Kolt Christie? Because he came as an outfielder, he was a catcher by trade. Switch back. You're going to need some versatile guys because, as we talked about, the numbers are a little bit different in your program now.
Yeah, it's for a long time we had a lot of guys that, man, if this guy wasn't getting it done, well, there's another guy right behind him that will, and that's going to be a little different here coming up. So we've got some options that will come in later on, but right now he's going to get the majority of innings back there, and but he'll probably see some time in the outfield as well.
There we go. Coming up on a break, we'll talk a little bit more. There's a pretty decent young guy that played a lot of third base for you last year. We'll talk a little bit about him when we come back in the Tiger Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score.
Breaking down friendship sports. This is the Tigers Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Yes. Welcome back in. This is the Tiger Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. We're talking friendship baseball. Calling up last year's guy. I know how last season ended because we were at that beautiful ballpark against South Lake Carroll. It's just, how far did they go after that weekend?
They got beaten the next round. Or was it maybe
Keller?
That was the next round.
It was Flower Mound Marcus.
Okay.
Their left-hander that started game one. He, on his way out to start the game, he jumped over the line and broke his ankle.
Wow.
So he went out there and tried to throw a warm-up pitch, and that was it. So it threw everything off for him, and Marcus had a really good team. And we saw them early in the year, and they were really good, and they got after them. So
you guys have been around a couple of years now. You know that you've had really good teams, really good seasons, really good district seasons, and you get to that level. We talked a lot about having a lot of offensive guys back, because that's what it's going to take. You guys pitched decent against South Lake Carroll. How do you get the bats going? I'm putting the cart way before the horse here. When it gets time to play, you get past that first round. When it gets time to play South Lake or Byron Nelson or Flower Mound Marcus or Keller, how do you get the bats going? Baseball's not a game where you just snap your fingers and go. How do you kind of think about that all season about, okay, we need to have this approach?
Well, I think it's all about momentum. When we get in the moment, it's about one person starting it off and keeping it going. Even on the defensive side, if we get a double play and we get the momentum on our side going into that bottom half of the inning or top half of the inning, we string some hits around, and things just can switch pretty fast as soon as someone gets one extra base hit, and things like that can change. So I think it's all about momentum. Because
2 years ago it was Byron Nelson. You beat 1-0 here, and then I don't know. It was almost like the bats didn't get on the bus with you.
Yeah, that we went and played at Byron Nelson, and after we decided how that series was going to work out, a home and home.
Yep.
And I had people telling me, I think it was South Lake said they've been over there, I think 3 or 4 years in a row and scored 2 runs. So that was a tough place to score runs, and man, I don't know why, but it was. It proved correct. It was tough.
Probably the guys on the mound had a little bit.
Well, they did. It was one of those. Nobody was overpowering.
Yeah.
They weren't like the guys we saw from South Lake last year that were mid-90s going to Tennessee and places like that. But they're pretty good. And then it was Keller before that just loaded up with big arms, and so. It's one of those days. One, you hope you have a good day against them, and you hope maybe they're off. But if not, you need to pitch well too to keep you in the game, because you're not going to score many runs, and hopefully they can make a mistake and you can score and then pitch well and hold them, and that didn't work for us last year against South Lake.
But again, your guys pitched well, and I'll borrow a quote from Jay Northcutt. You weren't the only team getting beat by South Lake Carroll or Byron Nelson. They're beating a lot of people.
Yeah, they're good. There's a reason they've got a few state championships under their belt.
Now, Ryan, are you a two-way guy, or are you going to strictly be pitcher only this year?
Yes, sir. I'm a two-way.
First base?
Outfield.
Who am I thinking of in the first? Was that?
You're probably Mason Fritz,
Okay.
Brody Prather.
Yep.
Those guys.
And then I mentioned this before we went to break. You had a pretty good third baseman last year who's back, how many freshmen have started for you in your tenure?
You know, not many. There was one year we had, I think, 4 in the lineup, which was an odd year.
That was
after
the Little League World Series team.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that was a team that went to the regional finals.
Yep.
And
the kid we're talking about is Peyton Archibald.
Yes.
For folks who don't know, and Maddox has become a pretty important basketball player for Paul Page. They're the grandsons of, completely blanking on his name, the Texas Tech softball coach.
Yeah.
So they've got a little bit of sports DNA in them. And you told me the other day that Peyton's got a chance to be pretty dang good.
He does. He's, he was already big as a freshman, but he's grown taller. He's stretched out a little bit, and he's going to do good things in baseball. So.
You guys have played a lot of baseball with Friendship. When a guy's as good as Peyton, how do you, as older guys, kind of make sure he's comfortable and understands you've got to be a leader even though you're a young guy?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. You just take him under your wing and you show him kind of the ropes of what it is to be a older guy, and you just show him around and you just take him under your wing and you try to teach him the best that you know, and you try to shape him into not even just a baseball player but a young man, and kind of just help him out where you can. And I think that's pretty important. Besides the baseball fact, I think it's good to be a good friend and brother to him.
What about you, Ryan? Because like I said, you guys have both been varsity guys for a while.
Yeah, I just feel like you just got to show them the right way, show them the path to take.
And there's been a lot of good players at Friendship. There's going to be more this year. It's going to be a little bit different moving forward. 2 schools now, so we'll get you back in. We'll get you all those other names mentioned when you come back that next time. So that's going to wrap us up in the Tiger Fan Zone. We got one more segment coming up, the Pirate Fan Zone, when we come back after this break on 100.7 The Score.